You can act it out or tell us. You get a spiritual name that describes your vision.
Well, I'll share my name.
Okay. I may not remember your name, so you'll have to remember. That is?
It's a
cow?
No, this is me.
Oh, that's you.
Riding a mountain bike down a mountain and doing dancer on the seat. Fearless.
Dancing on the seat of your motorbike riding down a mountain.
And free, yeah, and going fast.
All right, I have to give you a name. Natya means dancing. But I don't think there's a Sanskrit word for motorcycle.
No, it's a mountain bike.
Mountain.
How about bicycle?
Well, Giri means mountain. Giri Natya. Natya Giri. But they didn't have motorcycles in those days.
Mountain dancer.
Mountain dancer. Giri Natya. Giri Natya Bhakti. Natya Bhara. Giri Natya Bhara. That's her name. Your name.
That's a great name.
Mountain dancer. Giri Natya Bhara. Okay. Who else?
I have one that's not a drawing.
Okay, tell us.
But I'm sitting on a bench with somebody, and it can either be in sunlight, shade, it's sort of like dappled light, or darkness, moonlight. And we're speaking so intently to each other that all the rest of the things going on the outside are on a different kind of plane, and there's just a complete heart connection. And the air feels really light and smells fragrant.
Wow. There's a connection in yoga. And the moon is Chandra. And there's fragrance. Punya. This is going to be a long name. And there's air. Vayu. So we have Chandra Yoga, Punya Vayu. You can shorten it if you want. Or take any part of it.
Have a fragrance.
Have a fragrance. From a lotus. What's the fragrance of a lotus? Well, we'll just call you Kamala. Kamala's lotus. But, actually, it's Gandha. Gandha's fragrance. Not Punya. So it's, change the Gandha, yeah, so it's Kamala Gandha, the fragrant lotus. That's your heart, or that's you, everything. It all is. Kamala Gandha. Yeah, she's going to come home and tell her husband she got a new name. What happened?
Mahatma initiated me.
It's the forgiveness initiation. You don't know how many devotees I've initiated. Anybody else?
Well, I didn't get to share my restricted one earlier. It was that my feet were kind of stuck in mud. And so for this one, I was seeing myself jumping on a trampoline and then kind of this way, and sort of being carried.
Kind of flying?
Yeah.
Well, you know about Garuda? Garuda is a bird that carries Vishnu and flies. You can be Garuda. You can think of the bird. Someday you'll see the picture. Gopi can show you.
Garudasan.
Yeah, that's right. Cool.
Garuda is the bird carrier of Vishnu. You fly unrestricted. So you can jump off the trampoline and go wherever you want. That's a better feeling than being stuck in the mud. You had a nice picture.
Well, mine is similar to Kim's because my first one was like being trapped in that box, and then the one I did for this was just like completely like open and free. And
okay, so your name is Mukta Jivan, the liberated soul. Mukta Jivan. feel liberated? Yeah. It looks like liberated soul. Mukta Jivan. Or, you know, the yoga center in there, Jivan Mukti. Jivan means soul, Mukti means liberation. Anybody else?
You know, I feel completely grounded, like a very strong oak tree with my roots going all the way to the core of the earth and my branches reaching to the sky.
Well, so your name is Sama. Sama means equipoised, balanced, grounded. And then your hands going to the sky. Well, sky, it's a Sanskrit word for sky. Well, Sama is the next one. It's one of the qualities. It's also the quality of equality. Sama also means equal. S-A-M-A-H. It means you're balanced, you're equal, you're grounded. You can keep your head in the sky, you can keep your feet on the ground. Okay. It's a big chance to get initiated. See, normally when you get initiated, you have to make vows and you have to give donations. This is easy. No commitment. Well, you have to be committed to be forgiven. So some people have written me, they said, actually, I remember my name and help me. When I was in situations, I remember that name. And, you know, I just throwing names out there, it had meaning for somebody. Yes.
It started with just a feeling. I felt very beautiful and weightless and free. And so in the morning we were talking about the tree bird, you remember, very powerful and strong. I could see myself like a bird. But there were some other birds as well, so I wasn't alone. And, it was very, very, lots of fun in the sky.
So we got a lot of things going on there.
It's very beautiful, the sun is shining, so no clouds.
So how about, any ideas? Well, the sun is Surya. Yes. What?
Vriksha. Vriksha.
Vriksha tree. Sun of the tree. How about just Kalpa-vriksha? Then all your desires will be fulfilled. Kalpa-vriksha is a tree, it's a spiritual tree. Whatever you think, you get. So that'll leave it open for any further visions you have. Kalpa-vriksha. You like that? Okay, so we're going to have to rush to finish on time.
Wait, Allison.
Oh, you want to go?
Thank you. I had a river that I tried to draw, and it didn't quite turn out at all. But it was a free-flowing, the idea of being in a current.
Okay.
So a free-flowing river that was the confluence of intuition, motivation, creativity, and accomplishment.
Wow. Fantastic. Well, I'll make things simple. There's a sacred river in India. And it does travel, and it does meet other... Well, where do they all meet? In Allahabad? Yeah, so your name is... Well, I like Ganga Devi better. But the Ganga River meets so many others, but Ganga is a sacred river. It meets in a town called Allahabad, Prayag. You'd call you Ganga Prayag. Ganga Prayag Devi. It's a holy river. You can look it up on Google.
Thank you.
I live right by the Ganga, so we'll think of you. So let's see. The next section I'm going to skip because of time. I'm going to turn the page to page 7. And this is my, I think this is about compassion. And we're going to read this because it's going to set us up for the next exercise. And this is, in my personal opinion, this is really where forgiveness happens. It happens in the world of compassion. And so, see there? You will either bring more compassion or more resentment into the world. So they're juxtaposed. They're really, if you have resentment, your compassion diminishes. If you have compassion, your resentment diminishes. There are other sides of the pole. So let's read some things about compassion. Showing compassion to others is the heart of the spiritual practice. If we avoid developing compassion, we avoid the essence of what it means to be spiritual. And we talked about this earlier. Thinking we're spiritual, but maybe not acting. Now, this is from Mahabharata, in which we find Bhagavad Gita. This is the sum of duty. Do not do unto others what would cause pain if done to you. Chinese proverb. Deal with the faults of others as gently as with your own. If you cannot mold yourself entirely as you would wish, how can you expect other people to be entirely to your liking? Isn't that powerful? How hard is it for us to change? It's difficult. And they say people want change for everybody else but themselves. And this is from my spiritual master. The Lord Jesus Christ is being crucified. He said, "My God, forgive them. They know not what they do." This is the proper attitude of an advanced devotee. He understands that the conditioned souls cannot be hated because they have become mad due to their materialistic way of living. In this, that's Krishna, consciousness movement, there is no question of hating anyone. Everyone is welcome to come and chant Hare Krishna. Take Krishna Prasad, that's food offered to Krishna. And listen to the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita and try to rectify their material condition in life. This is the essential program. So, no one's to be hated. We may hate the sin, but not the person. We should feel that there is already enough suffering in the world. We should not wish to bring any more suffering upon anyone. And the next quote is beautiful in this regard. And we do not usually have a gigantic monster to forgive. We have a weak, needy, and somewhat stupid human being. True or true?
That's very true.
When you see your enemy in yourself and the weakness and silliness of the humanity you share, you will make the miracle of forgiving a little easier. So we're not dealing with monsters here. Revenge is intended to cause pain to others and is thus antithetical to the mentality and behavior of a person who wishes to raise their consciousness. Rather, we should feel for the sufferings of others and try to relieve their suffering. If we offended another person, certainly we would hope to be forgiven. However, we often want to see our offender pay for their acts. We want mercy for ourselves and justice for others.
That's awesome.
Another spiritual paradox. Anonymous. If you can't forgive, don't ask to be forgiven. Compassion is the antitoxin of the soul. Where there is compassion, even the most poisonous impulses remain relatively harmless. Compassion for loved ones and friends or for those who have never harmed us is wonderful. However, the greatest test of our compassion is to show kindness to those who hurt us. This is from my spiritual master, Let me not desire anything but the highest good for my worst enemies. So this quote on the top, compassion is the antitoxin for the soul. That's my personal experience. If we can go into that world of compassion, it just basically dissolves these feelings of resentment. And we're going to do a couple exercises. Okay, the first exercise I'd like you to contemplate. How would you wish to be treated if you were your offender? Second question. Could you have possibly done what your offender did or done something similar? If you had the same upbringing, life experiences, and cultural background as he, and were faced with the same circumstances he faced, How would you be doing in life if you were only forgiven to the degree that you forgave others? So, we're going to do an exercise now. How would you like to be treated? Would you like to be forgiven? Of course. Could you possibly have done what he did if you had the same cultural conditioning and upbringing? Of course. How would you be doing in life if you were only forgiven to the degree that you forgave others? Depends if you're forgiven others. But if not, probably not so good. So in the next exercise, I'm going to say some statements, and you are going to just close your eyes. I'm going to read these to you. And when I say blank, you're going to put in the name of the person you're trying to forgive. And this is called the compassion exercise. And you have this on the sheet, so you can do this anytime on your own. So just close your eyes, think of the person. When I say blank, just say his name to yourself. And you just go along with what I'm reading. Just like me, blank is seeking some happiness for his or her life. Just like me, blank is trying to avoid suffering in his or her life. Just like me, blank has known sadness, loneliness, and despair. Just like me, blank is seeking to fulfill his or her needs. And just like me, blank is learning about life. So you can do this exercise anytime you want. Anywhere you go, you can just focus on a person. Whether you know them or not, and just think, this person is like me. They've experienced the struggles of life. They're coping with the problems. And this brings you into a more compassionate attitude towards those you're trying to forgive. That's an act of compassion is to be able to empathize with another person. So now we're going to do a partner exercise, and I won't read it to you. I'll just explain it to you. With your partner, what you're going to do is, you are now going to become the person that you are trying to forgive. So we'll have two partners, A and B. So partner A, so Anna will be partner A. And she is now the person she's trying to forgive. And partner B is herself. So she's going to be speaking to herself. And she's going to be explaining why she did what she did. So let's say I'm trying to forgive a friend of mine who cheated me out of some money. So I will now take his position and say, well, I didn't intend to not pay you back, but then I got in this accident and we had these medical bills, and I actually went bankrupt. We had to sell our home, and I really didn't have a choice. We tried everything, and I regretted it, and I was afraid to tell you because we have such a close relationship. So you try to enter that world. Now, in the case you're trying to forgive yourself, then you're one self speaking to the other self. Well, the reason I'm so hard on you is because my mother was a perfectionist, and she always told me I have to be perfect and the best. And so whenever you're not perfect, I get mad at you and I don't accept it. So you speak to yourself as yourself. Okay? So try as best you can to enter into the world of that person. And sometimes it's hard because you don't know. But you're going to try. To look at their life, look at their situations, and why they might have acted that way. And you basically don't want to enter into the mood that they were trying to hurt you, and they were just doing what they do. That's what they do. Maybe that's what their father did, so that's what they do. You try to understand the reasoning, the circumstances, so you can change your story a little bit. Now we're working into changing stories that are more compassionate. So we're working on the heart, because this is where it all happens. Okay? Any questions on that? So we don't have much time, so it shouldn't take you that long. Each of you can take a few minutes and tell the story. And then when you're finished, we'll continue.
Certain systems don't work. Appropriate.
Oh. Anybody need more time? Okay. Can we sit up for the... Did anyone want to share anything from this exercise?